We have a first speaker who is Sejal Parekh, who is a leader of technology business at Accenture, a distinguished senior professional with a wealth of experience in SAP business at Accenture. Now, I did go through quickly some of the bios, and we do have a lot of women here who have experience working with SAP technology and SAP business. So this is going to be very exciting and insightful. With over 25 years of experience, she is an advocate for inclusion and diversity at Accenture in India and has led various I&D programs in the last decade. She is also a sponsor of the Career Reboot Program for women at Accenture, which has helped many women to return to the workforce through a supportive and learning environment. Over to you, Sejal. We cannot wait for you to walk us through the Career Reboot Program and also share some stories of your experience during this whole time.
Thank you, Marisa, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's on call today. So good afternoon or good evening to all of you. And first of all, thank you for having me here. So I feel privileged to be here and proud to be here along with three of my other colleagues and of course the fantastic Marisa. But along with that, we have Meera, we have Rupa, and we have Sue as well, who are going to share wonderful stories today. So thank you again for joining and taking out time for being with us today. So a little bit about me. So yes, I have 25 plus years of experience, of which 17 plus years are with Accenture itself, right? So it's been a long time within being in the Accenture space, being with SAP for almost all the 25 years, bearing the first year or so. And I'm part of the SAP Business Group leadership team here in Accenture. In the last decade or even more, I have been very closely associated with all programs which were inclusion and diversity in Accenture. And Accenture is a big promoter, I must say, about inclusion, right? Of course, and diversity as well, but inclusion comes first. Last 10 years, I have rotated beyond the business roles that I have in the world of SAP, rotated into multiple roles within the inclusion and diversity space. The reason being I'm extremely passionate about the topic, right? So it's you know, not only at workplace that I spend a lot of time on these topics, but I also do a lot on the personal front as well. And since the last 2 years, I have been part of the Exec Council for Accenture India, representing all of the work that we do under inclusion and diversity. And that's a lot, I must tell people. It's a lot that we do in this space. So that's the reason why we love this organization. And being here for 17 plus years is a testimony, right? That how I enjoy being in this organization. So in this last 2 years in the Exec Council is where then, because of my personal commitment to this agenda and a lot of roles that I play outside of work as well, is where we brought up the idea of how about coming up and doing something for, you know, giving or kind of touching lives of people who are outside of Accenture. So while we do a lot of programs which are for people within Accenture, but we said that's the first time where we started a segment to call as Elevating Communities. And that's where we started about, you know, kind of identifying multiple programs on how do we touch lives of people who are not necessarily in Accenture at that point of time. And Career Reboot is one such program that I started. I personally was involved and architected this program 2 years ago. So very dear program to me. But that's how, that's a little bit, Marisa, about myself overall and also about the little bit about the program. But I'm sure all of us will share a lot more as we go into the conversations further.
Well, thank you, Sejal, for that brief insight. Now, you know, the intention and the intent behind this program is definitely great, right? And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And we have three here today to, you know, walk through their journeys and experiences and the reasons for their career break and what is the support and everything they've received from Accenture. Now, while we were talking as well, I was going through the chat box and there were, you know, somebody had taken a career break for higher studies, somebody had taken a break because of motherhood, somebody had taken a career break to take care of parents, was relocating and things like that. So what is exciting is that never is a one reason for a break, the pause in your career, right? But the will to come back is the same for everybody, and the motivation is there for everyone to come back stronger, rather. Now, based on whatever we've mentioned so far about the program, can you tell us how this program differentiates itself with other similar initiatives that are in the industry? Because we know that a lot of companies and leaders are looking into this leaky pipeline, as we say, where you have a massive pool of talented professionals waiting for an opportunity, waiting for someone to make it a little bit more easier for them to get back to work. Because when there is a gap, there are certain challenges that we have to overcome on both ends, from the employer side and from the returnee side, from a woman rebooter side as well. So with the knowledge and information that you have and the way the program is designed and structured, how is this program different from the rest that the industry has to offer?
Sure. So first of all, for this program, right, I'll be honest, we spent more than 6 months designing this program, right, for exactly the same reason as you called out, right, and a few more reasons as well, and I'll bring that up. So first of all, yes, everybody may have a different reason for taking a break, right? A different reason to come back as well, because it's not easy, and I really salute all the women who come back after long breaks, right? Because I do understand it's not easy to come back to the workforce where so many things have changed. And so we spend a lot of time in designing the program itself, right? Saying what is the right first of all, what do we define as a break, right? So that's the first thing that we wanted to call out. How many should the person have any experience prior to working or just after education? Because there are many women in our country who are professionally qualified but never got an opportunity to work at all, right? And then because they got into different whatever reasons could be, but they never got an opportunity to work. And then after a few years, they make up their mind. They say that they want to get back, right? So there could be that kind of situation as well. How much of a break is that we would want to consider, right? Is 2 years good? Is 5 years good? Is 10 years good? Is 20 years good? So there were so many such aspects that we said. And then we said, what about women who may be from different walks of life? And want to change the course of where they want to now get into the workforce, right? Not continue necessarily in the industry or in the profession that they were before, and they are ready to invest in their careers. And that's the reason, after a lot of designing, going back to the drawing board, coming back and saying what works, what doesn't work, what we did was, first of all, we said we should open up the program for 4 service lines that we have in Accenture, and each one of them, the profile is very different. So we are a technology company for sure. We are also what we call as an operations company, or what is usually known as a BPO. Yeah, so business process outsourcing. So we are BPO and operations company as well. We also do strategy and consulting, right? And we do a lot of designing and what we call a song, but it's also about being interactive, right? So how do we help our clients into changing the way they do customer experience, etc. So a lot of creative side of Accenture. So these are the 4 main service lines that we have for Accenture. And we said we open up this program for all of the service lines, which means women from different walks of life, different kind of experience that they carry along with them, can all still find a role for themselves within Accenture. So that was one big decision that we had. The second one was also, what about if women were, say, for example, in technology, right? But they had a long break of 5 to 7 years. And the technology that they were working before is now kind of not the hot technology, yeah, or not a technology which has lots of demands, but they want to come back, right? And they are ready to invest in learning. So we said we would want to provide to all our women who are ready to invest, learn, reskill, upskill themselves, and get back into the workforce. So that's where we started a special internship program. So there's women who can get directly into the roles. If there is an open role and it suits their profile and they want to join us back, and we'll hear the stories from Sue, Rupa, and Meera coming from different backgrounds and how they got to Accenture and their experience around it. But at the same time, for people who want to change their course, then is where we have a very well defined, intense, handheld, high touch internship program that we run for 3 months, where we help invest, bringing our best trainers on how to reskill themselves into a different technology. And then after that 3 months, if they clear the assessment, then they get an opportunity to be with Accenture as well. So pretty much open, if you see, Marisa, from all sides, whether they want to be in which part of Accenture they want to join in, or they want to reskill and upskill themselves, and thereby they need support in there. And how do they reskill, upskill? They want to gain that confidence that they will be able to learn the new technologies and yet be into the workforce. So no matter what your journey has been like, we are there and we have an answer for all of those, right? To get you back. All that we need is your commitment and your skin in the game and your intentionality of your career, and then we are there to support you in all of that. So that's how I feel, Marisa. We have a very, very unique flagship program under Career Reboot that differentiates us from the others in the industry.
Very well explained, and as you rightly point out, a lot of thought and efforts have gone into designing and shaping, making sure that it suits the growing requirement and needs of the women of today, right? So a big shout out also to all our women in tech. We do have a lot of them with a career background in prior experience in tech. There are a few here who are also alumni of Accenture, prior work experience in Accenture with a career break and wanting to restart. And if what Sejal just said does not give you the confidence to restart your career, I'm sure calling in our first rebooter will definitely give you the confidence to kickstart or reboot your career. Please join me in welcoming Sume. Hi, Sume.
Hi, Marissa. Hi, everyone.
Hello. We're just going to spotlight Sume as well so that everybody can see you. For all our attendees, Sume is a rebooter with a unique story to share. She is a management consulting manager and a proud mother of two. Sume, could you please share a little bit about your journey, your career break, and how has this experience been of transition back into the workforce after taking a break for motherhood? And if you could also shed some light on some of the challenges that you faced, how did this Career Reboot program at Accenture help you overcome them? Over to you.
Thank you, Marissa. So, hi everyone. Very, very happy to be here. I'm so glad that Accenture has given us this forum to spread the word and share my journey, my story. So, I'm a mother of two. My previous work experience has been completely different fields. I worked for about 11 years after taking a 10-year career break. So for me, coming back to the workforce after a decade was something I didn't think would ever happen. So the reason for me to get back to work was because my younger son had started full day school and I had time on my hands. And as my kids started growing, they needed me less. And I had more time, and I was wondering, it's high time that I do something productive and do something for myself, put my skills to use. Which then brought me to the next step, saying that I come from a very different background. I have been a sales and operations professional in my earlier stint with insurance companies and with telco companies. And I knew that going back to those companies would mean, a lot of commitment in terms of maybe not flexible working hours and challenges to even balance home and professional life. I then heard about Career Reboot through a lot of friends, and I said, I think maybe this is the place, I should try here. But I had no hopes because I said I'm coming from such an unrelated background I'm neither a tech person. I'm far from, being a consultant and, anything related to strategy. So I was just wondering, I said, I'm sending the CV, but let's see, honestly, it was like a shot in the dark. And then one thing after the other, and within, I think, a 3-month period, I was having an offer letter from Accenture Strategy and Consulting, from the, from the global network team, where I was going to work in customer transformation projects for contact centers. So it used to take me like 10 minutes to explain to my friends and family what the job actually was going to be. And I said, you know what, let me join the company and then I'll be able to share a little more about what I'm supposed to be doing here. But I think it was very, very overwhelming. I had a lot of self-doubt, saying that, will anybody even hire me? Will people pay me something, So when I got the job offer from Accenture in such an, in strategy and consulting, that was like the cream. So for me, that was something I never, ever thought would happen. So that was an achievement in itself. Having said that, I think it was there were a lot of challenges. I must be honest. The first 3 or 4 months were very, very tough. Everybody would say that you have a steep learning curve. And I would say there is no curve for me, it's a straight line, because skill gap, relevance to, even the workforce and the work after 10 years, things have changed. I mean, I've been a user of technology, but never sold technology or worked with technology from this close. And I think the third and the most important thing for me was, would I be able to still give time to my family in the way that I used to? And where is that balance? Will I be able to strike that balance between work and personal life? So I think juggling priorities, it was just a lot of questions in my head, like, will I be able to do this? Will I sustain for more than 6 months over here? Is this the place for me? Have I made the right decision to, even come back to work after such a long break? Those were the things that were going on in my mind. But the Career Reboot Program and the number of training sessions that were organized for career rebooters like me, whether it was on soft skills, whether it was technology, teaching us how to maybe even manage and navigate our way through these, Teams meetings or the virtual meetings that we have nowadays. All of that subject matter. So depending on which vertical, so if I was part of the strategy and consulting, workforce, relevant content about what it is, what does Accenture do? A lot of it, there was a lot of hand holding. So you never felt like, you're all by yourself. I always felt that I have the backing of somebody who will be there to pick me up if I stumble. So I think that reassurance was always there. The people and the folks that I work with in my current workspace is amazing. The support I get from there is, needless to say, very, very, it's unthinkable, unimaginable. So I've completed 18 months now in Accenture, and I'm so proud and happy to be an ambassador of Career Reboot. Everywhere I go, I just can't help telling them that, hey, I'm one of the faces of Career Reboot in Accenture.
Fantastic. That is really great to know. First and foremost, congratulations. 18 months. So yes, that should definitely feel great, right? And I was, also like in earlier, as when I asked people to send their introductions and bios in the Q&A, there were a lot of women who did mention that, they are moms looking to restart their career, like reboot their careers, and, they are not unsure if they'll be able to. They have a lot of questions in their mind. Like as we were speaking, as I was listening to you talk itself, I did read some of these bio, which really said, I'm very keen on restarting my career, but I have a lot of questions on my mind that need answering. So one such question, Sume, that we have right now, which I would like for you to answer, is
Sure.
by Jyotsna. How do you mentally prepare yourself to overcome the mom guilt that is coming up from time to time when you think of restarting your career? I think Jyotsna has very nicely worded the sentiment that most moms right now on this call have. So yes, please.
Yeah, so I think not easy. In these 18 months, I have broken down 3 or 4 times on occasions where I'm like swamped with work, and I can hear the kids playing or they're doing their own thing. And I feel sometimes that what am I doing? I don't. I used to be able to sit with them for all their homework, and now I'm just leaving it to them. So I think there are two ways of looking at it. One is you can beat yourself up, saying that, hey, maybe this is the wrong thing. I shouldn't have done this. But I think what I would choose to do, I have chosen to do, is to look at the positive. So because I've come back to work, my boys who are 11 years old and 7, they've become very independent. So while they don't need me as much, I understand they do come to me for things that matter. And I have been able to let go a little bit in terms of getting them to do things on their own, whether it's helping around the house, whether it's making a snack for themselves after they come back from school. I think these are the things that I look at like as my wins. Uh, when the mom guilt kind of creeps in. But I think it's absolutely normal, and it's not at all wrong to go through that mom guilt. After all, I mean, after 10 years I've like spent with my kids, it's natural to feel that, I'm not able to spend as much time now. It's just that whenever I get a chance, I make it a point to be with them and maybe focus more on quality than, just sitting there and maybe being on my phone that I would have usually done. And I think over a period of time, you have this way of kind of figuring out that balance for yourself. And what may work for me may not work for Jyotsna, but I'm sure, Jyotsna, you will find a way to, figure that out. Initially, yes, it's absolutely normal. 18 months down the line, and I still have had a very busy day today, and I've had that same feeling just a few hours ago. But I think it's okay, and we're all okay at the end of the day. The kids are more resilient. The kids they understand, and I think we'll just be fine.
Sorry, and also setting up an example, right? Like, for sons who see their mothers doing things for themselves, in your sons, you're raising allies, right? To be better advocates, to enable more women to come back to work as well. So that is absolutely fantastic. I'm looking through the chat and I can actually see a lot of women saying, Sue, I relate to your story 100%. Someone even appreciating the confidence with which you have restarted your career and the way you speak. So congratulations, Sue. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
But brings me back again to Sejal. Sue, I would love for you to be on call because I'm sure there are going to be a lot more questions coming in, right? Yes, thank you. Now, Sejal, this question is for you. Like, we did address that the reason for a career break can be, any, and the gap also, because of this, can also vary. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Somebody even asked, can I reboot my career at the age of 45? And I know that this next question will definitely answer all of that. So the motivation to come back to work is different. The challenges, the support one requires from the workforce is also different. So you being the sponsor for the Career Reboot program at Accenture, how do you envision this program, evolving to meet the changing needs of the women returning to the workforce now and in the future? And does age really matter for a career reboot?
So yes, before I answer your question, the previous one, right, the mom guilt one. So the mom guilt will always be there, right? So we as women, when we become moms, even if we are stay-at-home moms, I'm sure they also have some guilt because not every time you are able to sit through with your kids. And really, if you go back and ask, is that really required, right? There's no science saying that for women who are at home, they have kids probably who turn out to be better than moms who are working. So I think that mom guilt is something all of us as women kind of somewhere have it in us, whether you're joining back your career or you continued your career, right? Once you have kids, your priority is number one priority is always your kids, right? But the other way to look at it is, as also Sue said, one is the positive aspect of kind of having your kids then become more independent. The other thing you have to also look at it is very soon the kids grow young, right? And then after that, they are on their own. And when they are on their own, there have been so many situations where have been very difficult for women because they left everything to be with the kids. Now, kids have become young and they then go on their own path. And that's when the void starts hitting back as well, right? So it's good to be a little bit balanced on that front. and believe any one of us, I mean, who are working here, and Accenture is almost close to 50% women. Yeah. So of the size of people that we have, at least in 80s or in India that we have, right? And it's a huge number of people, and then we are close to 50-50 already, which means that many women who are working here, and all of us have kids there, or almost all of us have kids there. So that guilt will always be there. The key is to kind of balance all of it, right? And ensure that you know how to balance your family life, as well as balance something that you crave for, something that you like. You want an identity for your, it's not necessary that you need to work, but if you want to work, right? So it's not that everybody must work, but if you want to work, then our suggestion, or at least my suggestion, would be, based on my experience, would be that this is the right time and this is the right place to be there, and then you will always find your ways, right? So women somehow have that strength of finding a way out of most of the situations that they have, and they have the right balance done up. So just wanted to add to the previous question on when women usually have this, did I do the right thing? Did I do something wrong by leaving my kids or my family behind, and then I started my job? So let's not kind of take that upon us, right? So that's just one piece of advice that I wanted to give. Now, on your question on how do we kind of support the journeys, right? And how do we make this happen? So essentially, um, whether you join as a direct joiner, as I said, a direct FTE, which is a full-time equivalent, right? So if you join through, so like Sue did, was applying for an open role and then got through and joined directly. But then there are many women out there who need that support and want to change course, and thereby we put them through internship. At least in the world of technology, as I was telling you, we have technology, we have operations, we have strategy and consulting, and we have song. But in a couple of them areas, so in strategy and consulting and in technology, we also handhold a lot of internship programs, because we do understand that, especially in the world of technology, a lot has changed in the last 5 to 7 years, and thereby women who have been in the world of technology before may find suddenly themselves to be in a technology which is not so relevant today, and thereby they need that support. And so we put them through these programs and then get them, kind of maneuver through, get them through, trained on new technologies, get them in, and then they are part and parcel of the Accenture. Once they join as well, it's not that each one is on their own. So you heard Sue, right? And soon you will hear Mira and Rupa as well talk about various other initiatives. But we ensure that at least the first 6 months are critical for people who join, right? Because that's when you are still not having the 100% confidence on yourself, and thereby you are, and then Accenture is kind of a large organization, so you need to know how to navigate, you need to know how to network. Also, another important aspect is women need to know how to network well, right? So how to connect with people. Network is not out of a selfish motive, but network to grow our own understanding, to know about our different people and learn from them, right? So in a very positive way, we need to do that. We need to know, how to navigate, because now we have gone all hybrid, or were remote a few years ago, and now we've become hybrid, which means it's a balance of work from office and work from home. So how do you manage your meetings and calls over back to back? How do you manage your time? Because time management also is equally important, right? So how do you manage your time? How do you learn to write a good email? So communication skills. And so much of it has changed in the last 5 to 7 years that it's almost essential that people who have been on breaks, then that need that little bit of a refresher to have them. So we run these special courses every month, 1 hour, 1.5 hour topics. We bring different leaders from Accenture to speak also, so that For example, on a topic of managing your own brand or building your own brand, which is extremely important, right? How do you do that, right? Women are usually shy and they're not usually forthcoming on that one. So how do you overcome that area and then kind of build your own brand in Accenture, right? So many softer aspects, so many aspects that you need for your day-to-day working as well, right? For women who are joining us after doing the internship and clearing the assessments after the internship, then we have a 4-week program specifically, which is back to corporate, which is also grooming them on all of these softer aspects, ensuring that they are well fit into whichever project that they are getting into, and they're just not left on their own. So essentially, hand-holding becomes extremely important for all of the women that were joining us after a break. And we ensure that we give them at least a minimum of 6 months, right? They can still, of course, avail that and reach out to and get more hand-holding if required, but at least 6 months we feel is critical for women who join in, so that they kind of then blend into the workforce and become one like anyone who's been working since many years into the industry. So that's what I wanted to add from my side, Marisa.
Well, thank you so much, Sejal. I think you did answer in a nutshell quite a few of the questions that a lot of the women in the Q&A box have been asking about how they can restart, what kind of support they can get. Can they restart at 45, 48? I think if there is the desire, the want, and the skill, right? I think anything is possible, right?
Absolutely. So age is not a barrier. We haven't put age as a barrier at all for anybody who's trying to join in, right? So it's welcome for anybody who's taking or who's wanting to come back. Yes,
Absolutely.
the key is they need to build that courage. They need to build that mind, which most of us as women usually are blessed with, of having a strong, desire, wanting to overcome a challenge, and kind of make our way through and then find a career and a standing for our own self. So age is not a barrier at all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Angel. For those of you asking how to apply, what is the process of selection, where can we get the link, what are the current openings, how to apply for the reboot program, please stay tuned. We'll be dropping in the links towards the end of the session and also answering these questions on the same. Now, please welcome Rupa, who's also another rebooter currently working in operations. Hello, Rupa.
Hi, good afternoon to all, and thanks, Marisa.
And a little insight to everybody on Rupa. Well, Sume had a career break because of motherhood. Rupa has a very interesting story yet again. Her career break was because of sports, and she's going to tell us all about it. Now, from sports to operations, I mean, firstly, how long ago was the career? How long was the career break, and how far back was this? And then from sports to operations and Accenture, I'm sure it would have had some unique challenges. If you could also elaborate on how the Career Reboot program helped you adapt to your new role and the dynamics of working in operations. Over to you.
Sure, thanks a lot, Marisa. As you're already aware, I come in from a sports background, and all my life I've played cricket, and I played for Karnataka, and then played different levels of sport here in India and in UAE as well. I took a break for over close to 7 years, 2015, 2022, almost close to 7 years. But the decision to join Accenture was not something new. I always, back of the mind, I always had, once I finish my playing career, I'm always going to go back to corporate. Before that itself, I had few years of experience in a few companies here in Bangalore in operations and banking. But coming back and after a career break and starting was definitely a little bit of nerve. So few things that I definitely want to say is I've already been seeing few chats that's been posted. All of you, trust me, have more experience, are more skilled than me, and have way lot coming from a better education background. And all I want to say is the Career Rebooters program from Accenture has hundreds. It's a world of opportunity, I would say. So the way I got to know about the program is I think I was a part of Job for Her, one of the seminars. So I'm the example for you guys. So it's just been a year and 2 months now, and I did share my CV after going through a few websites, and I did log into Accenture websites to see if there's any opening. So the time period from the time I applied on the Accenture website and from the time I got the opportunity, again, there was a period of 3 to 4 months gap. And that was the most challenging bit of it. I didn't lose my hope. I stayed positive. I prepared myself. Those are the few things that might come in handy for all of you who are actually looking to get back to work. And the second is transitioning from the sports operations background back to the corporate. How did I manage? I think the training that we got in Accenture and the journey from transition to operation to go live, the support that we got from all our managers and the trainers is immense. I mean, I definitely have to mention. And the other thing is, after joining, it's not that we have left out. I mean, we still catch up for coffee meets once a month and once a quarter at least, like Sue shared. Whenever you feel as mothers, if you feel that you're losing or you're breaking out, I think that's one platform where all of us can come together, share, and I think we can kick back to work. So I think I mean we are well supported, and I'm very happy to be a part of this program, and thankful to Sejal for being the sponsor for this. I mean, I always thought, I mean, motherhood, women take breaks for various reasons, but I think sports is something that which was very different, and I'm so glad that I'm a part of this Rebooters program. That's my journey.
Well, that is fantastic, Rupa. Thank you so much for sharing. There are a lot of women asking, because they have different career experiences, can they make a switch to technology? And how do they apply and things like that? I think you're a perfect example of,
No, trust me, I come in from different backgrounds: customer support, banking, operations, sports operations, event management. I come in from different backgrounds. But after listening to Sejal today, I really understood the amount of work that has actually gone behind in creating this program. Like 4 different profiles, be it operations or be it technology, or women who are coming after a break and who are trained in the internship. I think you don't even have to have a second thought now. Confidently apply on the Accenture website. There's world of opportunities, and trust me, you're definitely not alone, and you will be taken care. And Sue and me, like I said, we love to go to office, even if there's even if there's work from home twice a week, 4 days or 5 days, we're back in the office. So that's how much we enjoy going to work.
All right. Thank you so much, Rupa. I mean, I can feel your excitement through the screen, and I can.
No, trust me. I mean, I can tell you, I was in their place a year and a half back, and I totally understand how it feels and the confusions and no clarity, being there in the shadow. I totally have been there, so I understand them totally.
Well, a lot of love and support coming for you for your story. Rupali says the story is very unique, but very inspiring as well. So a lot of love for you. You cleared most of my doubts, is what a lot of women are responding to in the Q&A. So thank you so much for that, Rupa.
Thanks, Marisa. Thanks all.
Yes, we will be answering the specific questions on how to apply and the selection criteria in a bit. But before that, we have one more speaker, another very inspiring story. But before we call on to our last reboot, I would like to ask Sejal one more interesting question, right? Now, this is a question that I did see quite a lot of people asking in the chat as well. So for a rebooter on completion of this program, what does a career trajectory look like? Right? What are the different avenues, networking opportunities, mentoring options, and growth opportunities that they have access to at Accenture on completing the Career Reboot Program for the women?
Super. So first of all, if they are then part of the Accenture family, then they would have access to pretty much, first of all, what all employees at Accenture have, right? Which is, I would say, a lot, right? So we have access to almost anything that we need at work and on the personal front for us to flourish. And that's the reason why I would tell you my own story. So when I joined Accenture 17 years ago, I was, the shelf life of people in technology used to be 3 years, right? And 3 years, and then people used to switch. So people used to stay long, right? And then when I started my career in Accenture, um, at the end of 3 years, there was where people used to be rewarded for being, it was literally like long service. So people used to be rewarded at that point of time. And then I looked forward to it when I completed 3 years and I said, wow, I'm going to gain something, yeah. And then that year they realized that there's so many people who stayed back in Accenture for more than 3 years. They moved it to 5 years, and then say if you are with Accenture for 5 years, then you get if you all know the iPod, right, from the Apple, so you'll get a iPod. And so I was super excited, and I was already enjoying my stint in Accenture. So I continued and I said, wow, I'll wait for 5 years and I should get it. When the minute I made it 5 years, just a month or two before, they said, oh, they're shifting that to now 10 years because there's so many women who are staying back now in Accenture, right? So this is one organization where I was really stunned when I joined in that so many people are staying back. And now today when I talk to people, I mean, 10 years is kind of a minimum that I find most people with, right? So they are all people with 2 decades, 15 years, 17 years, 21 years, 22 years. So that speaks a lot about an organization, right? When people stay along for so long, which means it's giving them everything that they need in terms of career trajectory, in terms of integrating their work and life, and then making it all happen, right? So that's something that's there in the DNA of the organization itself. Having said that, once you're part of the organization, then meritocracy, of course, will play, because that's what is our first and foremost ethos from Accenture, that we would always focus on meritocracy, right? So that is for sure given. But what we do realize at the same time, that women who are coming after breaks need some special attention, and that attention is what we're just starting a program which is called mentorship, where we are doing a 1:1 mentorship for all women who have come back after a break and would like to apply for that, which means they want to be a mentee, and then they want to have a mentor with them who could kind of be there with them for 6 months, for 12 months, for 18 months, as long as they feel that they're comfortable to continue with that relationship. And kind of a very trusted 1:1 relationship where they are able to open up, talk about various topics, whether it's work, whether it's outside work, but get the right guidance as well on how to move around, how to maneuver, how to make through, help them establish contacts and connects that they need to do for their own work as well. So a mentorship is one of the key aspects, and that's a very new initiative that we are starting, or just have started in this last month, around mentorship for women specifically who are coming back after a break. Over and above, where we said for a minimum of 6 months, we have monthly programs and connects, where we talk about networking, where we talk about brand building, we talk about working in in a hybrid way, working through teams, because it's not easy. Yeah, you are continuously 10 hours, 9 hours, 11 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, in front of, sometimes meeting after meetings. And then you have, you have to still be in front of a system and talk and connect with people, instead of that 1:1, because our teams also have grown into so many different cities now. So we have 13 cities where we have our offices. Just last week, we opened up the 14th one at Bhubaneswar. Many of you may have seen it. It was all out everywhere. So that's our newest location that we have opened up, which means people can live in a city which is closest to their hometown, and not necessarily migrate to the metros always and be there as well. But that also means that you will always be in virtual teams, right? And then it is important to know how to virtually work with people where you're not seeing them day to day, not being physically necessarily, because your team member or your peer is sitting in a different city, yet you need to work together. Right? So those are all very important skills that we need to develop, and we do realize that. So that's any which ways continues. Additionally, we bring in the mentorship program, so that we are hand holding literally each one of the mentees, and to make them successful. All our intention of this program is to make difference in lives of people and make women successful once they're back into their careers as well. So that's the single most vision, mission, motto that we carry as part of this program, and thereby we do all of these. We keep taking timely feedbacks as well from the rebooters on what we need to do more, how do we change, what do we do, how do we connect, how do we make you successful, you let us know. And so some of these keeps coming as inputs to us, and then we start enhancing our program with all of those good inputs that we receive. So lots of opportunities, Marisa, in Accenture, and we can go on and on, but yes, time is always limited with us. But that's what I just wanted to add from my side.
Well, that is really exciting and great. And thank you for sharing your own story as well. That actually definitely gives a lot more depth and dimension, to be honest. So with that, I think time to call in Meera, who is an example of everything that you just spoke, right? Of how women continue to stay on at Accenture. So welcome, Meera. Life has definitely come full circle for you. You are a rebooter who started out as an intern and then became a full-time employee through the Career Reboot Program at Accenture, right? And now here you are sharing your story and inspiring many others to do the same. So kudos to you on that and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Marisa. And I'd say I'm really happy and excited that I could share the story with everybody, and like how Rupa said, last year probably I would have been attending similar webinars where I was listening to people, and now I'm really happy that I could be somebody like if somebody could look up to me and get inspired, I'm like really happy for that. So
Well, we are definitely hoping that some of the women who are on the other side listening to you next time around at this time will be on this side talking and inspiring many more, right? So could you please share with us some aspects of the Accenture's Career Reboot program that you believe have contributed most to your successful transition back into the workforce after your sabbatical, right? And that too in the tech space.
yeah. So so I would say I had to take a break, because I had to relocate to another place post my wedding and everything. And then I had a miscarriage, and I did go through that a difficult time in my life where I wanted to get back, but I couldn't because I wasn't mentally prepared. Then I did have my first child, and again women go through different things. You go through various emotional roller coaster, depression, everything. So I went through all those phases, and I kind of found myself in a very, like, I would say, a cocoon, where I wouldn't get out of my house, I wouldn't talk to anybody, I would just stay as a person I changed completely. And at one of my friend, actually, she she's having an elder daughter, and she once told me that my daughter is now all grown up, she's like 12-year-old, and now she's telling me, Amma, you can go back to work now because I don't need you as much as I needed you early. And she was feeling really bad that, okay, now my daughter doesn't need me as much as she needed me earlier, and she was feeling really low and kind of bad that how can she get back to work now after such a long break. And that kind of hit me hard, and I thought, okay, I need to do something immediately, so that my daughter doesn't ask me this question, and I don't want to be in that situation where I feel bad for it. And I really wanted her to have inspiration from me, to see me work, no, not just seeing me like doing the household chores and everything. I wanted to see her to see me having a life of my own, where I do my own thing, I spend on my own, I buy her things out of whatever salary I get, I take care of my parents, being independent. So I think it is important as a parent, whatever you do, your children automatically they learn it from you. And that was my, first, thought. And immediately I applied for like whatever opportunities were available. And thankfully, I applied through the Accenture portal for the career reboot. And the internship was something which I was actually looking forward for, because earlier I was working on Java, and I knew that everything would have changed, and I really needed some place where I could really restart, like learn from the basics and then come out there. So because I had my own like personal doubts, I would say. And the internship was such a platform where I could learn from the basics, ABCD, to like whatever we could. And we had a very good network, I would say, all returning mothers, I think about 28 of us. And I really had a great time networking with all of them. It was after like 6 years I kind of opened up to people. I started speaking to people, listening to their experiences. And I, translated myself to, the person whom I used to be, talking, networking with people. I enjoyed a lot. And when you have people with similar experiences as yours, you feel kind of supported. And you feel that you are in a safe space. And like our trainers and whoever like helped us through the internship were all very inspiring, and even now I look up to them. And post the internship and after clearing the exams, I recently joined Accenture as a full-time employee last November. So I would say it's been almost been 3 months now. And I had my doubts about the transition from being the intern to the full-time employee, but I would say it was very smooth. And since the internship was like a bridge for me to kind of get to that groove of like working and spending that time getting, at times you have to detach yourself from the family and everything and do something for your own. And I think the internship was kind of a bridge for me. It helped me transition, since the internship, the training sessions were curated so that mothers like me, we could like spend 2 to 3 hours a day with all the learning and everything, and rest of the day we had for our own things. So that was my journey. And I hope that it would inspire a couple of or like most of you. And I really wish that everybody gets such opportunities. Thank you.
Well, that was really, really nice. And congratulations, Meera. This is very exciting. To from an intern to a full-time employee to actually finding what is it that fuels your passion and finding the me time, right? It's definitely setting an example for everybody who's keen on restarting their career, rebooting their careers, and also, squeezing in a little something for themselves. As women, we play so many roles, and most of it involves being there for others and doing a lot of things and showing up for everybody else except for ourselves, right? So doing something for yourself feels good, and you should go all guns blazing for sure. Before we dive into the Q&A, I have you all here spotlighted, and I would really like to document this moment right here. What a great celebration of stories and efforts, and the will and want and desire to get more women back into the workforce. So all of you here are like a true testament to it, and I would love for us to document this moment. If I may click a screenshot. All right. Okay. So on the count of three, everybody smile, please, so that I can quickly do a screenshot, right? 1, 2, 3, smile, please. All right, time now for Q&A. This has been really, really fantastic. All three of you, Sumer, Meera, Rupa, thank you so much for sharing your short stories. And I have to tell you that in the chat box, in the Q&A especially, I see everybody buzzing with inspiration, excitement, and very keen, sharing a similar sentiment, with regards to your story, and also wanting to get to where you guys are. I think you guys should also feel, a lot proud about yourselves for taking a step in the right direction to be an inspiration for all of these women right here. Which brings me to a couple of questions, because I was just like going through, and if you can see, the Q&A box is just buzzing with questions. Here's a question for Sejal. Sejal, you did speak a little bit about the internship program and all of that right at the beginning. So some of the women on this session would like to know if you could share some more details, and on, is it open to all? Do we need any criteria per se specifically? Like,
Yes, there are certain criterias for every role because it's more role based, right? So definitely there are criterias, and you would have the criteria for all of that on the Career Reboot page itself, portal, which I guess we would be sharing it, right, with everyone. So which means once you just click into it and you go into it, then there are different roles, even in technology. And for every role, there could be different criteria as well, right? And then if you are looking at in the world of operations, then again there would be criteria. If you're looking at strategy and consulting, there would be criteria. So all of that is very well laid out when you get into the Career Reboot page itself. And based on that, where you find yourself as the best fit is where you can go and apply. And then you get through, the rounds. You'll be informed. You will go through either for a direct role, you will go through the interviews, or for if it's through internship, there'll be an assessment. The assessment is not qualifying round, but assessment is just to understand what is the depth of technology that you have, right? And then just that we know how much do we need to train. So it's more about understanding on before defining the curriculum for yourselves. So that's how you need to do. But all in all, because each one has a very different criteria, I'm not calling it all out. Once we give the link, then all of them will be able to go and see the criteria for different roles there.
I'm going to be posting the link in the chat right now for everybody to view. Okay, I don't know if it didn't get posted correctly. Just 1 second. If you could just click on the link I just shared, if it's clickable, I don't think it is. Let me post the link again while we speak. All right. There is also another question. Do we have to pay for this internship? I do understand where this question is coming from, because in the ocean of reboot and internship programs, it is easy. When there's so much of information, there is also lack of information, because a due diligence somewhere takes a back seat. So I do understand where the question is coming from. Sejal, if you'd like to answer.
Yeah. So it's a reverse. So we pay for the internship, so for the learning as well, right? So not only does Accenture teach you, but we're mindful that we want you to get financially independent right from the time that you signed up for coming back to your workforce, right? So there is an amount which is paid to the while you are on the internship journey as well. And then any which ways, if you become an employee, then you are any which ways as an employee. So yes, it's the reverse. They don't need to pay, we pay. Accenture pays to the interns as well.
That is fantastic. I hope that answers a lot of the questions that are coming in the Q&A right now. Keeping up with a lot of these questions on DNI and things like that, we have, I think this is Suchitra or someone who posted saying, I do feel intrigued and motivated when I hear the words like diversity and inclusion. It resonates with me very much, but I come from education sector and I intend to move into corporate. Kindly help me on how to bridge the mental block of how people keep saying and putting me in the jars because of lack of corporate experience.
I think now that you have heard 3 of them, right, who weren't from or were from different I would say worlds coming together, and the best one could have been actually Rupa coming from sports, which has nothing to do around with any kind of a corporate kind of a setup, right? So it's a very different field that she comes from. And after that career as well, if she has found some role, and of course, so is with Sue, where she was saying about in sales and operations, and then we had Meera, who had a break and then needed a change of technology as well. So essentially, the three are so diverse in themselves that I don't think those mental blocks are only our blocks, right? So we have to just go past them and then we have to just give it a try, and the sky is the limit.
Fantastic. For those of you who wanted to know what is the next step like, please do note that once you apply onto the link, and even after the session, we will be sharing your profiles with the Accenture team, and they will look through it and they'll contact you, whether it is for the internship, the career reboot program. So the first step is to go click onto that link and to apply for the program. All right. With that, this one very interesting question that has come in. This is by somebody named Rupa, who's joined in as an attendee. Does Accenture also, sorry, how do we decide which stream is best for us? Does Accenture help us figure this out?
So yes, so there is, while for every role, there is a role description which is written in there as well. So what kind of experience is nice to have for that particular role, and also what you would need to do. So there is a job description and a role description which is written in there. And so obviously based on your likings, you can apply to the role that you feel that you would enjoy doing, right? So that's one. Having said that, if you have applied to a role which you thought was of your liking, but due to whatever reason is not a role that you then finally skim through, what happens is internally within Accenture as well, the resumes are shared across, right? So say for example, you applied for technology role, okay, and doesn't suit. So, but it doesn't mean that it's lost, right? So from technology itself, then is where we also pass it on to operations, to strategy and consulting, and so check whether there is a fitment in there, and then can we offer something to the interested candidate, right? So essentially, one is because of reading the role description and what is required of that role, you can make a judgment call. However, if you are not, due to whatever reasons, are not clearing through that one, but then your resume any which ways goes and is shared across, which means wherever you fit best, you would definitely be then invited for a conversation and then taking it forward from there.
Well, you definitely, with this particular answered the question that is like most commonly asked right now in the Q&A, in terms of the role fitment. What if I do not like the skill that I've been contacted for or I have applied for, and things like that. I hope it serves as an encouragement and motivation for all of you here to apply and go with the flow, take it as it comes, because there are people to guide you through it. Before we wrap up, I do want to ask this one question on, does Accenture hire persons with disability? I know Accenture is inclusive, but if you could just shed some light on this question as well.
Absolutely, yes. So in all roles, at all levels, we are an extremely inclusive organization. So it's not only that we are focusing on women, so it's women, it's people or with disabilities, it's people belonging to the LGBTQ community or LGBTQ plus community. So it's open for everybody, right? Because the whole idea is, and that's the reason also why we don't call it D&I, we call it IND. So inclusion stands first for us, okay? And that's that is where we all believe strongly as an organization, and there's the culture and the DNA of the organization. So absolutely, yes. If someone is or knows someone who's looking for a job and falls under people with disability, please feel free to reach out, and then definitely we would be interested in taking them forward. So absolutely, yes. In fact, we promote people to identify themselves with via self ID campaign, which means often we feel that disability is something that we see to our eyes, right? Which means a physical disability, but there's so many other disabilities which are mental disabilities. There's so many other disabilities which people don't even know that they are called as disabilities, right? And so what we want to promote is disability is not a bad thing, right? It's all about that each one of us is different, and what we appreciate is the strength that you bring yourself, and it's not about how you look or any visible or invisible disability that you may have, right? So in fact we promote that we want to identify ourselves and we run internally self ID campaigns for all of us as employees to go and it become anonymous, so that that database doesn't get leaked anywhere for obviously privacy reasons. But at the same time, you shouldn't feel that you're holding something inside you which you can't talk about or which you can't share. And that's the whole reason why we also have come up with the self ID campaign as well. So absolutely welcome anyone who would like to join us.
Well, kudos to all of you at Accenture for such great initiatives and great programs. Before we wrap up, this has definitely been great, and I cannot believe that we still have 488 people on this call listening to all of us, wanting to know more about the program itself, right? So everybody, thank you so much for being in this call for this long. I have posted the link to the Career Reboot program in the chat. If you would like for me to post it again, I'm going to post it one more time for you. Please make sure to go click on it and apply. Before we wrap up, I do want to ask everybody on this call, Meera, Sue, and Rupa, if you were to give, some of your entire experience in 2 lines, and as a word of encouragement for these women who are on this call, what would it be? We'll start with Sue, go with Rupa, and then Meera, and then finally close it and call it a day with Sejal. Yeah, go. What you say?
Okay, I think just 2 things. Don't doubt yourself and give yourself time. Don't be too harsh on yourself. I think that's very, very important because it's that the self and the criticism that we we're so critical about ourselves. I think that's very we shouldn't be harsh on ourselves. We've done a lot, we've achieved a lot, and coming back to work after a break for whatever reason is in itself a very, very courageous step. It's not easy. So only people who are doing it understand, what is going into it. So don't be harsh on yourself. Give yourself time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you so much, Sue. Rupa?
For me, again, 2 things. One is to be clear. I mean, during this time, especially when we are between jobs, clarity is something which we lack. I mean, there'll be hundreds of questions that will be running in our mind. Yes, no, this company, that company. I would say just be very clear that you want to get back to the corporate and you're going to start and have an open mindset. And the second thing is stay focused. I mean, there'll be a lot of times when we tend to lose our focus. With fewer times we might not succeed, but just be persistent. And even after you join, and like Sejal said earlier, 3 to 6 months will be challenging. I think that's the time when you have to be a little persistent in getting back on your feet. I think those are few things: being persistent, ready to accept challenge, being very clear that you want to get back. I think few things that really helped me out during this challenging time.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Meera?
Yeah. So for me, my only mantra is being your own cheerleader. Give yourself, tell yourself every day, okay, I'm going to do this. I need to do this. I need to have this in my life. So I would say that is the only mantra on which I've proceeded this far. So that's it.
Thank you, Meera. Sejal?
Be without limits. Okay, so don't box yourself. Don't let others judge you. Don't judge yourself, right? So just be there. At most, what would happen, right? You would still decide that no, it doesn't suit you. That's the max that would happen. So why not even give it a try, right? So be without limits. This year's theme for International Women's Day, which is just coming in another 8-9 days, is also be without limits. So let's live by that and let's enjoy our lives and let's give the best of ourselves.
Well, you heard it. You heard it here by the rebooters and the leaders at Accenture. There's no limit. There's no boxing. There is no dearth of opportunities, so as to speak. So go ahead, apply for the Career Reboot Program. And we had Rupa, Meera, and Stu on this call sharing about their journeys and experience. Hopefully, next time around this time, we'll have some more from the other side joining us and sharing their experience
Absolutely.
and being beacons of inspiration for more women to kickstart their careers. With everything said here, the only one thing that I'd like to add is don't hesitate to ever ask questions, and please be kind to yourself. Like Sue said, we are our biggest critics. So show some kindness to yourself and go with guns blazing. I mean, there's an open avenue for all of you here. Wishing everybody all the best. The rest of it, I think already. Once you are there, apply, go through the link, see what roles you'd like to apply, and apply accordingly. Wishing everybody all the best. Thank you, Sejal, Meera, Sue, and Rupa for taking the time to do this with us and for sharing such inspiring stories from your life, right? And all the best to you all at Accenture, and keep doing the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
and thank you,
Marisa.
everyone. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.